we've introduced ourselves already. I'm in math and computer science.
I'm in social sciences. Why? This thing is kind of weirding out. The path is kind of weird. Okay.
So we met last summer. It was very random. So we met last summer in our Teaching with Technology course at Bronx Community College Holds. Our professors are in the room here.
Yeah.
And this is a course that you take in order to be able to teach one of the hybrid distance learning classes, online, partially online, fully online. Mm-hmm. And it's intense. There's a lot of material in there. And so with complete respect to the experience that we had in that course and the pedagogy we had in that course, what we would like to focus on today is some of the institutional structural challenges that we faced in trying to implement this. Certainly, I have a lot less experience than Monique had even going into this, and there are certainly lots of things pedagogically that we both can work on. Mm-hmm. So these were some of the obstacles that we found that were not just within ourselves as we go along.
Okay, cool. There's like a little bit of a delay. I don't know why that's happening, but it's happening. So yes, this is not, we love Laura Broughton and Steve Powers. We bow to them. And I'm not even, I'm always facetious, but it was, they are great at responding to our concerns, our challenges. I felt comfortable all the time shooting off an email. They're rather different people, so Steve would answer me at 12:42 and Laura would answer me in the morning, right? But still, this is not at all a presentation about our training. So we want to talk a little bit about why we both decided we wanted to teach hybrid and online classes, a little bit about who benefits from this experience, whether it's our students or whether it's us. I guess we learned in like the end of our training that it seems that our institution is interested in TWT because they think it uses less space. And we will talk a little bit about why we chose the courses that we did. Okay, so we are not those white men. That's what we are. Go ahead, go. Oh, it's me first. Okay, cool. So I taught a hybrid. So I teach social psychology and introductory psychology. The Psych 11 course that I teach is pretty much required for damn near every liberal arts major, and even outside of the liberal arts, it's pretty much required for every major at BCC. It's a large adoption. We run like 50 or so sections. So right after the training, because I thought I was so fly, I thought that I was ready to go from a really web-enhanced pedagogical style to teaching a hybrid class. In retrospect, that probably wasn't like the smartest thing to do. Not because, again, of my training, but because I also was dealing with a new book, right? So we had just adopted a new book. The book, half of the students were using an ebook that included a new platform that's called Revel, and it's better for me to get the video. So Revel is a software that makes the book rather smart, right? It embeds like flipped instruction in the classroom. So what's a chart in like the text-based version of the book is a clickable diagram, is a maneuverable diagram within Revel. We were the first community college to use it as a platform. Again, not so smart to think that I can incorporate this thing. There were a lot of bugs. Both Eva and I will talk about our assumption that many of our students are millennials, that many of our students are they were digital natives. That was not the case in my adoption in the fall 14 semester. And then this semester, I'm actually teaching Psych 11 fully online and teaching a hybrid section of Psych 22. I chose both of those classes for lots of reasons. I love to teach with technology. I am a BCC graduate, a Lehman graduate, a CUNY Grad Center graduate. I pride myself on my lectures kind of sort of being engaging and dynamic, especially because I'm a social psychologist. I love to talk about what's going on right now. So technology helps me kind of have those types of discussions and import like current events or YouTube videos and that kind of thing. I think I also chose both of those courses because attendance at BCC post-department, remember department? I kind of missed that thing, right? But post the department period, and we're a non-attendance taking institution, lots of our students have challenges sometimes coming to class. And I didn't want to use Blackboard as just a repository. I wanted to use it to help build, which we'll talk about a little bit later, this disposition that students could be self-directed learners. So even if you miss class, man, the PowerPoint's there, I have tiny podcasts there are videos there, you have Revel, you can still keep up with the work. Yeah?
So the fall, so the training covers sort of 2 semesters, a web enhanced semester, and then a hybrid semester. So my web enhanced semester, I was teaching Math 105. This is our arithmetic and elementary algebra course. This was sections that were involved with a presidential grant, and so it was accelerated. So half semester 01, half semester 05. So we met face to face 4 days a week. This was not a distance class, this particular part, okay? So this was, but we have new students, so I knew that I would have some, what better time to indoctrinate them into digital technology in one sense. And because we had lots of face-to-face time, thought there'd be certainly lots of ramp-up time. These courses, Math 05, like your Psych 11, this is, I like to call our most popular course. I don't think it's popular because people like it, but we have like 60 sections of this class. And this is the class that our students take to exit from remediation unless they're STEM students. And so because this is also a 6-hour class, the idea of ramping this up to a hybrid this semester was to be able to offer more alternatives for our students who have so many scheduling challenges and, you know, life problems. And then for the hybrid section, of course, they need to be eligible for a hybrid class. So they are not new students. They are students who have the appropriate 2.0 GPA, et cetera. And the way I do it this semester is instead of meeting 3 times a week, we meet 2 times a week. Our third lesson is flipped, and they have worksheets which they have to complete, which have detailed instructions, but they also have the book on Blackboard. They have videos which are linked to in Blackboard, and I started doing pen cats, which is like the smart pen, just starting that to offer them more opportunities to feel comfortable with the material. And then they bring in their worksheets, and they have their time together, the first 15 minutes of class, to check each other, and then we talk about what the most challenging parts of those were, and we continue on with the lesson after that. So that was what we do with our sort of hybrid part of our course.
Okay. So, again, this is my students are talking about self-handicapping and impression management, and I realize that we're doing so much of that right now, but whatever. It's important for us that we say that our work and our plans for our first forays into teaching hybrid and online class was like steeped in the literature, right? We weren't winging this. We read widely. We read the stuff that Laura and Steve gave us to read, and we read a whole bunch of other things. And we talked to, for a while, we had meetings where we would talk to the other folks who were in our training program, and so we got to like bounce off ideas and talk about what was and wasn't working for everyone. Yeah.
Okay. So we're excited about doing this. So some of my expectations were that we would, of course, have some challenges, but I thought that we would be getting students who were choosing these courses partially because, okay, maybe it works with their schedule, but they were more motivated, perhaps more self-directed learners, that they would have, as Monique said before, like a disposition that this would be something for me. I'd be able to take ownership of the class a little bit. I also expected that they would know that they had signed up for such a course.
Yeah.
So that was one of the challenges. And I expected that another benefit would be that they also, even if not at the start, that they would come out feeling a lot more control of themselves and their opportunities, and if they hadn't before, that they would really feel comfortable with their technology, partially, and then also with just being able to handle for themselves a schedule which requires them to be a little bit more self-motivated. So some of the challenges we found, well, they sort of broke down into sort of 3 categories. We had physical issues, we had sort of technological issues, and we had sort of institutional structural issues. So Monique is going to tell us a little bit about some of our physical issues, and then I will interject when I have
Okay, you totally took like 3 minutes of my thunder, but it's cool. Anyway.
We'll talk about that later.
So physical space stuff. Okay. When I, especially for the semester that I taught a hybrid Psych 11 course, it didn't occur to me that I should log on to when I logged onto Blackboard and saw the students' email addresses. Hey guys, I thought that I had students from John Jay and Baruch and Ostos, right? No, they were all BCC students, but their email addresses were incorrect. So I had to spend some time helping them modify their profiles on the CUNY portal. That was fun. We needed, for the orientation, like a physical space to meet, right? The process at, the process at BCC is that like you fill out this document where you specify the percentage of time that you're going to meet in person and that you're going to do online stuff. And unfortunately, the way that works with scheduling is you'll probably only get a classroom for the one day that you want to meet in person. But my experience was it took about 3 weeks for students to feel comfortable enough to go on the hybrid day and be able to do their work alone. So like procuring a meeting space was a serious challenge. I think we both learned that the TWT classes get scheduled last. Yeah. And not always in a smart classroom. And we kind of...
And I had a class that met in 2 different rooms on the same
yeah.
day. Our first hour was in one room, and our rest of our class was in a different building. So that we'd be able to have some technology, so we... Less than ideal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good to get up and stretch, but you know.
I also think that like it's weird that on the day that I meet my hybrid students, I actually want the room to be as low tech as possible. I feel like you already have a day where you do stuff without me and you're all techie and fly. Get away from those. See, you're staring at me, right? So I ask them all the time. These are 2 of my students that are in my hybrid social psychology class. It's like a struggle sometimes to say, so let's push our chairs away from the computer and talk to the people that we kind of commiserate with online. And we have this weird structure where we don't necessarily get an opportunity to communicate with our scheduling office. Our chair we tell what we need or what's going on to our chairpersons. Our chairpersons talk to the scheduling office, and then the hope is that they'll get back to us. So that's why for those kinds of things, Laura and Steve were both helpful, because sometimes they were like another middle person that could get us answers to stuff that we didn't understand what was going on. Okay, cool. Mm-hmm.
So we talked a little bit about the scheduling nightmares that had to do with our space,
Mm-hmm.
and other challenges that were sort of institutional were getting the students enrolled in Blackboard. I would
Mm-hmm.
add some of the students who were not there. I had a roster of 47 students, which did not jive with the actual 30 students in my class. I could not get them onto my roster, so they could not see my Blackboard class, which if you're trying to do something that's web enhanced,
Mm-hmm.
much less hybrid, is not helpful. And so sometimes you felt a little invisible when you're trying to send lots of emails, especially if you're not being the one that's supposed to email the registrar directly, which of course you do anyway.
Yeah.
So the technical challenges we're trying to use, and for us and for our students, maybe less for you, use Blackboard for beyond a repository.
Mm-hmm.
And so this was a real challenge for them. It took a lot more ramp-up time for me, or much more time than I expected for the class to feel comfortable with that. And I have 2 AWOL students who still come to class who have not logged into Blackboard.
Mm-hmm.
But it's okay because they're only getting a 10% anyway, wasn't it? So they're
Mm-hmm.
welcome to come and talk to class, but they're not participating. And they know this, and this is the choice they're making, but it's defeats the purpose. So
So just still weird lag. Okay, so it's interesting that like in preparation for our talk today, and we asked institutional research, we asked the folks who coordinate our CTLT for some information that would help us be more specific about a lot of things that we wanted to know to be able to talk to you today. We encountered this online readiness survey that we're pretty sure none of our students ever took. Did you guys ever take this online readiness survey? Okay.
I didn't notice it until we were looking through our website.
There's a course test drive too, which gives students like some credentials so that they can see what Blackboard courses look like. But like Eva said, like I just didn't anticipate. It's interesting because like some of my colleagues and my department are total chalk and talk people, and I respect chalk and talk folks. But what I found is if you're a student and you're in classes where someone is chalk and talk all the time, or someone who's using Blackboard as totally a repository for information, and then you're in a class that uses it differently, that's trying to flip instruction, that was hard for students to understand. For the most part, we were using their institutional emails. We asked them to use their BCC emails. So it became, and I think I sent some emails to Stephen and Laura about like, how much do I contact people, right? How much, like there's a syllabus on there. My syllabus is all pretty and coordinated and stuff like that, and you know what you're supposed to do at that time. Should I be sending reminders, right? I tried to use the calendar in Blackboard and that didn't work out for me, right? But even when you send out those reminders, like, just to let you know, there's a test due, or you had to upload this thing to Safe Assign by 11:59 p.m., I felt like we were also competing with the myriad of broadcasts that our students, so how much to communicate with them without overwhelming them?
But also, of course, it's only overwhelming the amount of information they get if they actually log into their campus email.
Yeah.
Which we try to emphasize.
Right.
But that's one thing we have to try to work on is how to make this work.
Okay. This is you.
Go on to lessons.
Okay, cool.
Let's get specific.
Sure.
Okay. So certainly for myself, and I need to realize that I need to support my students more, and I think being able to have more face-to-face, schedule more face-to-face time, expect to have that time the first maybe week, part of the class, each of those days, 3 days in my case, would be to help them ramp up so that they feel more comfortable. I scheduled this time in, but I didn't realize that they didn't know what CUNY Portal was. So we're getting overwhelmed with email. Maybe we can set up an email filter. Maybe they should, if they don't want to check their BCC email, that they should set it forward into their Gmail account. 5 minutes, thank you. And instead of getting frustrated and like feeling like, come on guys, you know you're supposed to, like, that's not helpful. So, so I have to become more transparent about what the expectations, my expectations for them are in terms of not just the content and you have to do well in your quizzes and tests, what their participation is in this kind of forum. Okay. We need more departmental support since they are our liaison to the classrooms and getting the registrar in the classrooms. And the institutional support is, we are asked to offer these classes, and I learned so much that I still haven't been able to incorporate from the training I got. So we're offering these classes, so why? So are we offering these classes because students are asking for them? Are we offering these courses because it's engaging for the faculty who are getting excited about a new way of presenting material that they think is more useful and keeps them interested? Are we doing it because the institution wants to have a feather in their cap? What is so great about this? Or if we're going to take it seriously as an institution, I think we need a little bit more overarching structure. The training that we received can be reflected in perhaps a little orientation for the students and things like that. And so.
You're still stealing my thunder.
Go for it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I thought you were doing 1 and 2. Okay.
No, it's cool. So I think this experience and talking to my colleagues has made me not only be transparent about my expectations, but try to figure out, like, in that orientation or in the hybrid courses, how I could build small assignments to kind of scaffold the more larger independent kind of disposition that I want my students to have. I've learned to be really responsive. The Revel program, which I wish the video would have worked, really helped me do that. So if I assign a quiz on Revel, not only can I chart the students' performance, but I can also do item analysis. So I can see on my online class, like, okay, this is totally a concept or a theory that people are not getting. Let me insert a podcast or maybe do a create session around that thing. We've learned a lot to assess, but also redress a lot of things that we're doing. I know, like, we're like doing, go. Is this me or you? Go ahead.
Okay. So our takeaways, this is going to be I think this is really a useful format,
Mm-hmm.
but we need a little bit more overarching support here.
Mm-hmm.
So do you want to say
And assessment, like, we're interested in how many, so we learned that we were trying to gauge, like, so if you were a student and maybe this is a question that we'll ask you guys, sorry to pick on you that you're in the room, too bad. We're really interested if students have like a great experience in one TWT class, does that predict the likelihood that they will take another one, right? And what we learned from IR is that is not happening. And we don't know if that's not happening because there are not more course offerings or if it was just a disjointed experience. What else did I want to say? I think we need to, to be better at coordinating scheduling with digital instructors. We need to assess the needs of our students. Like, do they want to take these classes? Or are we thrusting these classes on them? Assess faculty interest. Bring back, so it's weird that I am an adjunct at OSTOS and a tenured lecturer at PCC, but there are a couple of programs going on at OSTOS that excite me. So there's one program where students become like digital teachers, right? And they use those students, uses the wrong word, but those students are then like mentors and we used to have tech tutors, but I don't know what happened to them, right? Anyway, we're gonna stop there and you can have our metaphorical bag because they didn't give us a bag today. And we can answer any questions you have in the Q&A. We're done.
Thanks.
Thanks.